Hey guys, this is Brett coming at you on Wednesday, July 20th, 2016, and this is not my weekly update. This is a tag video, as you probably can tell by the title of the video itself, and the tag that is going around that I have been tagged in by MadeUpMomma is called the Fat Girl Diaries or Fat Girl Confessions or wherever you have it. Sorry, my hair is being an asshole, and as you can tell, I'm still recovering from my horrible period. So this is slowly starting to go away. It's annoying as shit, but it's going away. Slowly and surely, knowing that I'm going to be getting my period in probably 10 days. Anyways, I'm not going to go into that. What I'm doing this video for is Confessions of a Fat Girl. Now, I wasn't going to do this video, but MadeUpMomma pretty much insisted I do it. Which I appreciate. I should do it. I did a Naked Truth tag not long ago where I bared my soul, and I wasn't ready to do that again. But I will do it for you guys. You really want to hear it. On top of the fact that I do think I have an issue, I really coming to terms with the fact that I had a food problem. I understand I have one. Obviously, it wasn't 320 pounds or plus. Because I'm a perfect eater and I don't have food issues. Obviously I have them. It's just hard for me to identify that, and it's a work in progress, let's just say. So I had to really sit and think about my food issues, and I will be talking a little bit of the stuff I touched on my Naked Truth video. I will not go into it too much because I don't like discussing it too much. I really, with the Naked Truth video, if you guys want to take a look at it, go ahead. I don't like to use that as a crutch. It's my past. Everyone has a really shitty past. I'm not the only one. I would never equate my stress greater or equal to that of someone else's stress that they had when they were a child. I don't care if they're rich or poor or abused or not. You know, stress is stress. Your body processes it the same way. It doesn't your body doesn't look at stress and sees like, oh, this person's abused and oh, this person isn't. Like, it doesn't look at it that way. So just because you maybe grew up in a wealthier household and you didn't have to deal with as many abuses as maybe somebody else did, doesn't mean that your body wasn't subjected to any kind of stress during your life. So I want to that's why I don't tend to talk about it a lot, because I don't want it to be seen as a crutch or me trying to get attention or anything like that. So, but I will talk about it a little bit because it does pertain to this video slightly. The only thing I'm willing to be talking about is how I was raised. So, I have 5 confessions I'm willing to do. Okay? And this took a lot of thought. I'm sure eventually I'll be able to come up with more as I really start. This whole process has been allowing me to reflect on my eating habits and how poor they have been. So as I go along, I'm seeing, I'm really digesting my eating issues. So this just scratches the surface really of these problems. So I'm gonna go into the 5 that I can think of, okay? So here we go. Okay, first things first. Let's start at the beginning. When I was young, I was raised poor. I mentioned this in my Naked Truth video. My parents didn't have a lot of money for a lot of things. I remember my piggy banks were constantly empty because my father would take money out of my piggy bank if he needed it for stuff. We were not wealthy people, okay? My mother I barely ever saw. My father I barely ever saw. You know, like my father worked third shift, so he slept during the day. My mother worked like sometimes doubles to pay for everything we needed. It didn't get better throughout my life. I will say that I am better off now than my parents ever were. That doesn't make me wealthy. It just makes it so that like my parents probably together were making maybe less. We're making less than what I make alone. So, and I tell you, I do not make a lot of money, okay? So we were really broke. Because of this, food wasn't abundant. So anytime that food came into the house, it really was squirreled by us. Like, not necessarily squirreled away, because that means you save it. What I mean is that we ate it like crazy. Like, we just have at it, you know, like, it came in, we ate it all. It was nothing was saved. So unfortunately, when food came in the house, it wasn't spread out over the course of like a week. It was eaten up like immediately. So a lot of the times the fridge was bare. A lot of the times we had to eat things that were weird. You know, children make up foods and things like that as it is. But when you're living in a poor house and all you have left is like bread and mayonnaise, like peanut butter or something, you just do what you gotta do. And you make like weird concoctions. I mean, peanut butter and bread, that would be a sandwich, right? But I'm talking about like really weird things like sugar bread, like where you just take sugar and pour it on some bread. Or cinnamon sugar bread, you know, like that. Sometimes we didn't have butter, you know, like these are things that you just do because you had nothing else to eat. Sometimes I would eat sugar out of the bag, just straight out of the bag. And I mentioned that I probably wasn't fat when I was a kid because there was so little food that even when I was eating sugar straight out of a bag, it didn't affect me because it was like I was eating almost nothing, you know, like, we just went through it all. And yeah, I had 3 sisters, so there was quite a bit of us, and I think we pretty much all have our own weight issues. All of us have overweight tendencies, overweight issues. So none of us are exempt from that. Some of us handle it better, but none of us are exempt from that. So we all stem from that same place. This food issue never got better until I think my mom got married again after the divorce, and we lived with my grandparents. So, yeah, before that though, like I said, we would eat it like crazy. I would go into a box of fruit snacks. If they were all there, I'd eat them all. Like we'd eat them all. I know why my parents locked us out of the house during the day. They're like, get the fuck out, stop eating everything. We were just freaking ravenous. If there were a bag of cookies, the cookies would be gone. You would just eat it all. I didn't have any shame. I'd throw the stuff away in the garbage. I didn't bother me. Plus, like, there was a lot of blame, you know, like, I couldn't be necessarily pinpointed on me. I had 3 sisters. So, yeah, we would eat like crazy people. So there was no control on that. And being that there wasn't much food, it was fine at the time, but obviously later on when foods became abundant, when we moved in with my grandmother, that was a huge issue because we would eat, and there was no stop. There was no limit to that food. There was food. So we could eat all the time. My grandmother was a bit of an alcoholic, so I say bit because she didn't like drink all day. She would only have like a few beers at night, but she would get really rough. And she would constantly tell me how fat I was and how I ate too much and things like that. So I was very well aware of the fact that I was eating too much. It just didn't matter. I was stressed out. It just came from a bad town, moved into a good place, more stable environment with my grandparents and my mother, but I was still super stressed out and depressed. So I ate. Plus, when you're moving, there is nobody to talk to. So like, I was bored, and I do bored eat. Bored eating is my one of the 2 like main downfalls I have. One of the 2. Yeah, I'm sure there's way more than that. But one of the main downfalls is I bored eat. I eat like it's like a fucking pastime. I still do it. It's a big issue for me right now. I am a bit of a grazer because I'm bored eat. I'll sit, get bored, go grab a piece of cheese, sit down, eat the cheese, okay, go get bored, you know, and the surgery doesn't fix things like that. Grazing and things, the surgery doesn't help at all with it because you can still graze when you have a tiny pouch, for sure, because you can get hungry again really quickly. So I have had to learn to control that on my own. And that's been very difficult because that's just how I tend to be. I'm a grazer. I bored eat. And moving as much as my parents have, because we pretty much moved every 2 years of my entire life. So my parents moved very frequently. I didn't get to keep friends very often. And thus I didn't have anybody really I didn't have anything to do with people. So I would eat. Yeah, so that's that bit of stuff. Eat. My first diet I ever went on. So that's a childhood food thing. That's where I think it all stemmed from. As far as diets I have gone on, the reason I'm confessing to this one is it was a really kind of guilty diet. I wouldn't tell people I was doing this because I wanted to make it seem like I was losing weight with ease. Like, oh, this is easy, you know? Because nobody wants to see you struggle when you're losing weight. Like, everyone wants to make it look like it's just natural to you to be that size, you know? Like, it's this bullshit stigma we all have that it's normal to be like a really tiny person. And everybody comes in different shapes and sizes, and it is a struggle, especially in the society we live in with all the food and all the fast food and everything shoved in your face and diet shoved in your face and be perfect and it's constant. So you realize that more and more as you have the surgery, how frickin' in your face it is. Because you can't eat like the first couple of weeks out of surgery or first month, so you're like you're hyper sensitive to it. So it's like you're seeing it all the time. It's ridiculous. Even before surgery, that if people have 2-week pre-op, I didn't have a 2-week pre-op liquid diet. But if you have one of those, you notice it then too. Excuse me. I'm thirsty. Okay, my first diet. My first real diet on my own where I actually lost a significant amount of weight. I just moved out of the house and I was 18. I moved out of the house when I was 16, but this was like on my own. My parents moved to a completely different city, like 30 miles away, and I was on my own. So, whereas before I moved out, but I was still in the same town as them. I was living off of 6 cherries a day. I didn't make much money. The place I worked at was like $5 an hour, I think, and then you got a 2% commission on anything you sold, and we rarely ever sold anything over $1,000. So I was making like next to nothing. So I couldn't buy a lot of food, and when you're like really poor, food isn't high on the priority list. When you're a smoker and all these other things, there's other things that are more important. Gas is one of those things. When you're a smoker, cigarettes is like the next most important thing. And then food, it was like kind of the last on the totem pole. So I was able to lose a lot of weight because I just wasn't eating anything. I would buy a bag of cherries at the grocery store, and that's pretty much what I would eat for an entire week. I would count out 6 cherries in the morning, and that's all I ate for the whole entire day. I would go out, have fun, smoke my cigarettes, and not eat anything. And I lost. I got down to the 100s. I got down to 175. I don't even know how much I weighed in high school really, but I was down. I know I got down to like 175. I hopped on my mom's scale when I went to visit her, and I was like 170s. And I thought I looked fucking fantastic, but it wasn't sustainable because as soon as I met my boyfriend, my now husband, 6 months later or so, I actually could eat things again. And there came that big, like, naughty, eat everything in fucking sight mentality I had when I was a child. Eat. And I didn't really have much shame attached to it because I didn't see the effects of it till later. So that was a very shameful diet. I ate like next to nothing and made it seem like it was easy. I mean, it was easy because I didn't have a choice. So, but it sucked. I mean, that's a bad diet. That's bad. That's bad for your metabolism. So, and then of course when I saw food, I gobbled it down because I wasn't eating anything. Okay, so next thing. SJ mentioned this, and when she mentioned it, I realized I did it too. And I didn't. And see, this is what I'm talking about, like how this is going to take me time to process my food addiction issue and food issues. Because I don't even realize that I did these things. Like, I'm like pushing it out of my mind or something. I don't know. SJ mentioned that when she called for fast food that she would pretend like somebody else was in the room so she could order more food. I've done that before. I did it at Domino's because I wanted like a couple of different things to try, and you can't get like samply thingies. I mean, it doesn't matter. I still ate it all, okay? But you really can't get like a little of this, a little of that, little. So I called Domino's, and this is when me and my husband we broke up for like a year or so. We were on and off for a couple of years. We've been together for 10 years, and before we got married, we were together for 10 years, and we were on and off for a little bit there. You know how relationships are. It's a good thing we weren't married. Anyways, I moved on my own, he moved on his own, and I was living by myself with like a girlfriend or something, and I was at home alone, and I wanted some pizza, but I also wanted a calzone, and I also wanted to try one of their melty sandwiches. Ooh, and maybe a little side salad, which why the fuck am I gonna eat a side salad? But anyways, that's what I wanted. So I pretended like somebody else was ordered. Oh, do you want that? Okay, she wants a calzone, yeah, she says pepperoni or something. You know, like, oh yeah, and I want to try one of those Philly melty sandwichy things, and then a small like pepperoni pizza. And I wouldn't eat it all in one sitting because that is a lot of food even for somebody who would eat like crazy. But I would eat it all in a day. It'd be gone by the end of the day for sure, if not for sure by the morning the next day because I'd eat the pizza for breakfast. I could eat half a small pizza from Domino's for sure, easily, probably more. I don't know. Like I ate like crazy. I didn't care. I didn't see weight as a huge issue. Like I don't know. I was depressed. I was depressed almost. After I met my husband 10 years ago, I started gaining weight. I got to like 200 pounds again. I got back to where I was, and I started to just end up in this depression for a very long time. I was just unhappy with the way I looked. I was taking it out on him, on anybody around me, and I was like that for a very long time. I was just very apathetic because, like I said before in my other video, problems, how I deal with problems as a reaction to the way I grew up, the environment I was in, I pushed them out of my head. I become apathetic towards it. It doesn't mean that I'm not depressed about it or something like that, but I tend to just push it out and ignore it. So my weight was something I pushed out of my head and ignored it and didn't pay attention to it. I do it with bills. I do it with a lot of things where I'm like, it's just too much stress, and I just push it out and ignore it until it becomes a really big issue, like 320 pounds issue. Until it becomes detrimental to my health. Like when I had my child, I realized how much my weight really affects me. And it does take things like that for you to snap out of your bullshit, you know? So I did do that too. Fast food in general, like fast food is my crutch. I could eat fast food 3 times a day, 4 times a week, for sure. I mean, that was a big issue for me. You cannot eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner fast food, like 1,000 calories a meal plus every day for like 4 days a week out of the 7, if not all 7, because sometimes that would even happen too, and not gain anything from that. Like I was eating it constantly. And I would definitely pull the whole eat a sandwich before I get to where I'm going and then eat my actual meal. So I would order like 2 sandwiches and then like a fry and Coke and da-da-da-da. And then I would eat the sandwich on the way to wherever I was going and then pretend like I didn't eat anything when I got there and was like, oh, this is my lunch, you know, like a normal person lunch. Even though that's not really even a normal person lunch. You know, like, I'm sorry. It was ridiculous. Yeah, so I definitely did that. That's very common. A lot of people admit to that. That's a sneaking food thing. Same with like ordering way more food than I need from a Domino's or something like that and pretending like someone else is there with me to show that I'm not eating all this food. I'm a normal person, but we're going to share all this stuff. That's also sneaking food, I guess. You know, I did things like that. I know that if I finish packages, I will tend to hide the bags and stuff under, like, if I put it in the garbage, I'll like shove it under there. That's also like a product of my childhood. My parents get pissed when we would finish food, even though we did it all the time, but we'd always get yelled at. So I would like shove things like way down in there. I guess sometimes. I mean, other times, how can you go through a whole entire box of fruit snacks when you're a child and no one noticed, right? Okay. The last one is tough for me to admit to. I'm a food thief. I'm a food thief. I steal food. Yeah, I'll do that. When I lived with my sisters, I would take their food. Like, if they went to a restaurant or something and brought home, I would eat it. Or if they, like, bring home, like, Twinkies or something, I will eat it. I will take my husband's, like, I'm not so bad. Some of the things are not so bad with him. And I do tend to make sure that I leave stuff there so people don't notice that I steal their food. But I am a food thief. I don't do that anymore. But for sure, I would definitely steal people's food. I steal my daughter's food, for Christ's sake. Like, she's got some cookies. I'm like, cookies. Oh. You know, like, I'm a food thief. I'm a raccoon. That's what I am. I work 3rd shift. It totally fits. Okay, that was tough, you guys. I'm not gonna go more into it, but yes, that's my fat girl confessions, you guys. I am trying to get over some of that stuff. I'm sure that as I go along, more will surface. I'm sorry this video was a little lengthy, but a lot of explanation goes into all this stuff, and I have to laugh at it because it is something I'm trying to process, and I do notice that I try to put on a really happy face when I am super stressed out. So, plus this is kind of awkward for me, and I'm sure it's awkward for you guys doing the videos. So, I already had my teary video. My Naked Truth video was the one that was raw. This one's just like fat girl things that I do. The Naked Truth one, if you guys want to watch a fucked up video, go ahead and watch that one. That's the one where it was like, wow, that's fucked up. This one's just like my naughty fat girl things. So, okay, guys, so I'm going to leave it at that. That is my frickin' Fat Girl Diary confessions, okay? I'm putting it all out there. If I think of any more, I will randomly insert them into my videos. And I will see you guys on Friday. Talk to you soon. Bye.